Welcome to Trionic 7, the YouTube channel for Saab enthusiasts. This weekend I've been working on my Saab 9.5 Aero in laser red from 2002. And one of the things I've been working on is the Clicky steering wheel. If you have a Saab 9.5, chances are that you have some weird feeling in your steering wheel. It might manifest as knocking during acceleration or braking, or as a loose feeling when steering. Just listen to this. But I have good news for you. This knocking is very easily fixed. It doesn't take much time, nor any special advanced tools. And many of the people on the forums who've been doing this maintenance have basically said, wow, this really increased the road feel of my car and stopped this annoying clunking and clicking in the steering wheel. The issue at hand is a spline joint here in the footwell. And the steering column needs to be able to expand and contract depending on how much the chassis is flexing. And this spline joint moves up and down on a shaft. And if the grease goes bad, you'll get a little stick slip effect, which manifests as this clunking or clicking noise. As I said, this is a simple job and you'll just need a few tools like torx bits. Bottle brush is very good to have. Also need a few sockets. I think it is either a 10mm or 13mm, but let's see. But the important part is that you have a good grease, really thick, heavy grease. This is CV joint grease. It's supposed to be very thick and heavy, because we'll be lubing up those splines in the steering column. We want this to last for a long time. To be able to fold back the carpet behind the pedals, you will need to remove this little plastic nut from that red axle just there. So you just turn it a few turns, then it comes loose, and then you can fold down the carpet. Next we'll remove this panel here in the footwell, and that's gonna be 3 torx T20 bolts to remove. Next, remove the diagnostic port using 2 T20 bolts. One here and one here. And there we go, the port is loose. I'm sorry that everything here is hard to film, but you also need to remove this little plastic clip. You push downwards and then pull the panel out slightly. I can't do this with just one hand, but basically it has a little notch that holds onto a hole in the panel. So push down and then pull out. And with everything loose, we'll pull the panel away. Next, I was able to pull down on the panel. It's a little sticky here on this side, but just pull tightly, but don't break anything. Then we can just move everything back carefully. And you can see the OBD2 connector coming here, and then the footwell lighting coming out here. The OBD2 connector can just be pulled through, and the lamp contacts can easily be removed. Now, put this panel away in a dry, safe location. Now with the panel gone, we can see everything we need. So the steering column comes from up here and goes down to the floor, down to the steering linkage. And the next step is to remove that bolt you see down below there, close to the floor. And to get to this, we need to turn the steering wheel just a little bit. Oh, and before I forget, take a marker pen and mark those splines so that when you pull them apart, you know exactly how to put them back together. You'd really not want to lose alignment between the steering wheel and the wheels. From now on, you'll need to secure the steering wheel so it doesn't move anything when you do this job. Since when we remove the bolt, the steering wheel will actually turn freely compared to the wheels, which can damage wiring. This is a 13mm socket, and now we'll break it loose and take the bolt out. For the next step, it might be a good idea to protect your carpet with some newspapers or something, because it will be a bit of grease. And we will want to pull this lower joint upwards, and it might be difficult to get enough leverage, but I found a perfect tool, which is a pedal wrench for a bicycle. So I just carefully put it under and then push down on the handle, which should make the whole joint move upwards. Then we can pull it outwards, that is towards us, and then we can pull it down again to release the upper part of the splines to separate them. It might take a little bit of persuasion to get it all to come out, but as you can see, the whole joint moves upwards on the splines as you pull it out. And then we can just take it down here, further in the back. And here is our joint. So this is the lower part, and this is the upper part with the splines. What you want to do now is to clean this part and this lower part. I wouldn't go and clean the joint, because that should be greased. But I'm going to use a bit of brake cleaner, a bottle brush, and some rags to get it all out. That looks much better. Nice and clean. So after cleaning these splines and letting it evaporate, I also cleaned the other side of the splines on the steering column. And next step is, of course, to re-grease. We want to be quite liberal with the grease, but remember that everything that is in excess will be pushed out when we put it together. So be sure to have that newspaper under or on the carpet when you put it all together. So now I'm gonna put in the grease. So everything is greased up. Now I'm gonna push it back in. It is really cramped in here, so it might be a little difficult to get the spline started, but just bend it around until it works. And also be sure to line up the marks you made previously. I put some extra grease on the splines at this step with my finger, just painting it on, and then I moved it back and forth on the splines just to grease everything up nicely. And when you tighten down the bolt, that's basically it. Be sure to push everything down correctly, as I just said. And now we can loosen the seat belt from the steering wheel, and let's try it out. So with the bolt tightened down and everything back in place, I can say there's less play on the steering wheel. That clicking noise I had when turning back and forth is almost gone. It's not perfect, but again, this is a 13-year-old car, and you can't expect things to be perfect anymore. The problem is that this will be regular maintenance. This might come back spontaneously on you, and it's actually the second time I've done this to the car. So get used to this procedure. It might come back soon, it might come back in a long while, but be sure to use the correct type of grease. But anyway, I think when you drive your car, you will definitely feel an improvement if you had this issue. So very little work. Well, it's a bit cramped, so it's a bit of work, but it's really not complicated. It can be done in half an hour, and it will give you a nice feeling in the steering wheel. And this concludes this video from Trionic 7, the YouTube channel for Saab enthusiasts. I really value your feedback, so if you have any issues doing this repair, or if you have anything to add, just write me in a comment here on YouTube. Also, be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, etc. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.